Greetings all, and welcome to this week's episode of Reflecting on Divinity. I am so glad you are here with me today as we explore a phrase that invites us to look deeply at ourselves and the world around us. What I assimilate and consequently become originates from the authenticity of what I believe is true and possible. This phrase rarely gets to the heart of who we are and how we evolve. It is a reminder that everything we take in, what we see, hear, feel, and experience shapes who we become. But it is not just about the things we consciously choose to absorb. We also assimilate things on a subconscious level. Every interaction, every image, every word, we absorb it all, whether we are aware of it or not. Think about this. Just as the food we eat has a direct effect on our bodies, the things we take in mentally, emotionally, and spiritually also affect us. What we expose ourselves to becomes part of us. That is why we must be intentional about what we allow to influence us. We need to guard ourselves because we live in a world where we are constantly bombarded with information, movies, news, even casual conversations, and not all of it serves us. Sometimes we do not realize how much we normalize things just because they are repeated or because they are around us all the time. For instance, consider the games we let our children play. Many of them normalize violence in ways that can have long-term effects on how they view the world. Or the news. Sometimes we get so used to hearing negativity, violence, or fear that we stop questioning whether it's really what we should be taking in. And let's not forget the words we say to ourselves or to others. Repeating certain phrases, especially those that are negative or limiting, can deeply impact our lives. We take them in, believe them, and they start to shape who we become. So let us break down this phrase a little further and see how it applies to us. What I assimilate and consequently become. Assimilation is a process of taking in information and experiences and making them part of us. We do this consciously when we choose what we expose ourselves to, like the books we read, the people we interact with, or the content we consume. But we also do it subconsciously. Many of us do not realize just how much we absorb without actively filtering or questioning it. For example, think about the act of leaving the TV or radio on for quote-unquote company. You might not be consciously paying attention to the messages or advertisements, but they are still entering your subconscious mind. The same goes for the music we listen to or the background noise of news broadcasts. Even though we are not actively engaged, we are still absorbing the energy and the information being presented. The power of repetition, whether it's a commercial, a news broadcast, or a catchy song, is a powerful tool for shaping beliefs, often without us even noticing. Now let us take this further. Information isn't just processed in the conscious mind. Many of us are absorbing messages that we never even get the chance to question, simply because they are presented to us in a way that seems irrefutable. Whether it is through cultural, traditional, or religious frameworks, there are beliefs that we accept as unquestionable, never thinking to examine them critically. These unquestionable truths can be deeply embedded in our psyche, shaping our reality in ways we do not fully understand. This is why it is so important to actively vet what we allow into our minds, just as we would carefully consider the food we eat. Our minds need nourishing, uplifting content, but we cannot ignore the fact that we are constantly being fed information, much of it subconsciously, and this information may not align with our highest good. It is important to be aware of this invisible process because these subtle influences can shape us in ways that we might not even realize. What we absorb, whether we are paying attention to it or not, becomes part of who we are and how we see the world. Now let us talk about authenticity. Are the beliefs we hold truly our own? Or have we absorbed them from others? Many times we don't even question the beliefs we have. We inherit them from our families, our culture, our society, and without realizing it, they start shaping how we see ourselves and the world around us. But here's the real question. Can we truly be authentic without some degree of self-confidence? What am I being authentic to? Am I being authentic to what I have been told by my parents, society, or my culture? Or am I simply acting on my desires that are fleeting, yearnings of the flesh, rather than the deeper calling of my true self? Authenticity is about aligning with what feels true to us, what resonates with our inner selves. But here is where it gets tricky. If I haven't yet cultivated self-awareness, it can be hard to know what feels true. So, we often end up following external guides, be it the expectation of others, the media, or the fleeting whims of our desires. But can authenticity be based on constantly shifting whims, whether positive or negative? Can we actually advance, or will we just end up spinning around in circles, never truly progressing? Is it enough to be authentic when we are merely following what feels good or bad in the moment? Or do we need a deeper compass? Something to ground us in our truest self. Here is where self-confidence plays a pivotal role. Authenticity, at its core, requires us to know who we are, not just who we think we should be based on external pressures. It is about being aligned with a deeper truth that resonates beyond the momentary impulses. Without this confidence in our own inner wisdom, it is easy to become lost in the noise of the world around us, never quite sure if we are truly being authentic or if we are just being reactive. So what can we trust to guide us? The answer lies within us. Though it often requires patience, introspection, and courage to listen to the quiet voice of our true self amidst all the external noise. Authenticity is not about embracing every whim or mood that comes our way. It is about understanding the deeper, constant truth of who we are and making choices that honor that truth, even when it feels challenging. But here is something crucial to remember. Goodness is just as real as evil. And without deliberate choice, we might find ourselves drifting away from our intended path. We may think our intentions are enough, but intentions alone are not enough. To effectively manifest what I envision, I must be fully committed to my direction, not just in thought, but in words and deeds. For example, I cannot desire an exemplary body, mind, or spirit while simultaneously engaging in habits that contradict those desires. My actions, however small, must be in alignment with my highest intentions. It is not enough to wish for something. I must live it, embody it, and make it a reality through the choices I make every day. Every thought, word, and action must reflect my commitment to that path. Authenticity requires a foundation of self-trust. Trust that you know your own truth, even when it doesn't fit neatly into the expectations of the world. And this is where we find empowerment. When our beliefs align with our true selves, they propel us forward, and we begin to step into a greater version of who we are. This does not mean we won't have doubts or make mistakes, but it does mean that we are guided by a deeper sense of purpose. Now, some might argue that authenticity is rooted in the spiritual or religious doctrine they follow. But here's the thing. This isn't about religious beliefs. In fact, this point only cements the idea that we need to be precise and exact in aligning with what we truly believe. If we don't, we become poor advertisements for what we claim to hold dear. It is not enough to say we believe in something. We must live by its principles with intention. Think of it like following a recipe. You can't truly know if a recipe works unless you follow it exactly as it is written. You might make substitutions or skip steps, but in doing so, you are not going to get the intended result. The same applies to our beliefs and practices. If we are not living in alignment with them, if we are not following the recipe, how can we expect to see the results we are hoping for? Belief is powerful. If you believe something to be true, it shapes your reality. Think about how your beliefs influence the choices you make. If you believe you are capable of success, you will approach challenges with confidence. But if you believe you are destined to fail, you may inadvertently sabotage your own progress. This part of the phrase, "what I believe is true and possible," calls us to examine what we believe is possible for ourselves. Do our beliefs limit us, or do they expand the possibilities in our lives? Are we open to growth, or have we closed ourselves off because we do not believe we can achieve more? As we explore what we believe is true and possible, it is important to recognize that beliefs do not change the fundamental truths of the world. Whether or not I believe in gravity, for example, doesn't change the fact that if I step off a ledge, I will fall. Gravity operates independently of my belief in it. The same goes for many aspects of life. Our beliefs may shape our perception of reality, but they do not alter the inherent laws of existence. This brings us to an important lesson. The truth exists regardless of our beliefs. Just as gravity will affect us whether we accept it or not, the realities of life, such as the consequences of our actions, are not negotiable. It is crucial to understand this distinction. Our beliefs have power, but they must align with the truths that govern our world, or we risk facing the consequences of ignoring them. We are all shaped by the environments we grow up in. Our personal experiences act as filters for how we view the world. Someone who has experienced love, trust, and safety will have a very different perspective on life than someone who has lived through trauma or hardship. Think about the impact of our surroundings. A person raised in a peaceful environment will assimilate a very different worldview from someone raised in a violent or unstable environment. And when we allow ourselves to absorb negativity or harmful ideas, we internalize those beliefs and they become part of who we are. It is essential to be aware of what we are taking in, especially when it comes to things like media and entertainment. We must be conscious of how the content we consume can shape our beliefs about what is true and possible. And just as we wouldn't nourish our bodies with unhealthy food, we must not nourish our minds with harmful beliefs. Context shapes beliefs. Our environments play a major role in shaping what we believe to be true. The experiences we go through influence how we see the world, shaping our perceptions and understanding of reality. But context is key. The context of any situation or belief dictates its truth and therefore what we come to believe. It is essential to understand that truth isn't always fixed or universal. It is shaped by the parameters surrounding it. A parable, for example, cannot be understood in isolation. It requires consideration of what came before it, what is implied, and the underlying context in which it was told. Without understanding the full context, we risk misunderstanding the message or misapplying the belief. What goes before or predates an event, situation, or belief also has a profound impact on how we interpret it. In the same way that we read a story more clearly when we understand its background and its characters' journeys, we must also understand the broader context that shapes our beliefs and perceptions. Context is not static. What we understand as truth can shift as our perspectives broaden or new information arises. This fluidity allows us to continuously evolve, adapt, and refine our beliefs. The context is what allows us to see things in their full light, giving us the depth necessary for true understanding. Our beliefs are not just ideas. They anchor our identity. We act on them, and in doing so, they form the foundation of how we see ourselves. This belief system then becomes the blueprint of who we are and how we navigate the world. Perception is powerful. It is the filter through which we view the world. It shapes not just how we interpret events, but also how we respond to them. Shifting our perspective can open us up to seeing things in an entirely new light, leading to profound transformation. Change is possible. We are not prisoners to our past. Our past influences us, but it does not define us. We have the power to reshape our beliefs and open ourselves to new possibilities, allowing us to continuously evolve into the fullest version of ourselves. I invite you to reflect on these questions. What core beliefs do you hold about yourself, others, and the world? Are these beliefs truly yours, or were they inherited from others? Do your beliefs expand your sense of what's possible, or do they limit you? Think about the experiences that have shaped your worldview. How have they influenced what you believe is true and possible? Are those beliefs still serving you today? Finally, let us explore authenticity. Identify a belief you hold strongly. Is it truly aligned with who you are? Or is it a product of societal expectations or fear? Imagine your beliefs as seeds in a garden. What are you nourishing? Are there weeds, those limiting beliefs that you need to remove? What new seeds, empowering beliefs, can you plant? As we wrap up, I want you to remember the phrase, "What I assimilate and consequently become originates from the authenticity of what I believe is true and possible." It is a reminder that you have the power to shape your own reality by choosing what to take in. And by questioning the beliefs you hold, you can transform your life and step into the highest version of yourself. Embrace curiosity. Stay open to new perspectives. And remember, the possibilities are infinite when your beliefs are rooted in truth and aligned with your divine potential. If you have found value in today's episode, I humbly ask you, like, share, and subscribe. Your support helps others who are seeking these insights to find them more easily. Together, we can create a space for more people to embark on their own journeys of self-transformation. Thank you for being with me today, and I look forward to continuing this journey with you.